A baseball instructor that my son's used in Nashville, Tennessee, named Todd Stinson, always tells kids when he first meets them that he wants them to get straight Fs. The kids kind of giggle, look at their feet, act a little nervous, and wonder what that means. Then he tells them those 3 Fs are faith, family, and future. It takes a while for that to sink in for kids, but I think it's a good lesson for all of us here today. We're all here in this beautiful building and watching online, hi Mom, this morning, because faith is important to us. So we've clearly given priority to our faith by being a part of Wilshire. But are we all in? Are we giving God all of ourselves as He gives us all of Himself? Or are we serving the church in ways we haven't thought of before, using the gifts and talents that God's given each one of us? Or are we working toward a tithe and beyond, as God simply asks us to do? When my family arrived at Wilshire about 10 years ago, we started dropping a few dollars in the offering plate, and then we started giving a little bit more, but couldn't imagine what tithing meant. 10% of everything. We were a young family, 2 kids, first house, jobs, but 10% was just beyond comprehension. We started giving a little bit more, then finally one Sundays we sat in the balcony with our kids, as families at 11 o'clock do. George preached a sermon that jolted us and really made us sit down and think when we got home. He talked about how we need to give so our kids see us giving. He talked about how we don't publicly recognize people by naming things or putting their names in newsletters. It's just what we need to do. So Lydia and I made a plan to get there, and we stuck to it. We were led by hearing testimonies of others and talking to our friends and mentors who had gotten to that point. I am always happy to talk to anybody about what it takes to give more of yourself and more of what God has given us. But does that make us all in? No. We can and will do more. The second F that Todd talks about is family. I want to be all in at Wilshire for my wife and 2 sons. This is a place that Lydia and I can spend time together at least once a week, challenging each other, being challenged by our friends, studying the Bible, hearing what George and others have to say, and just having a quiet place. We need that place, and Wilshire is that for us. More importantly, Wilshire is a place that we've chosen to raise Blake and Drew. As I see them become young men through Sunday school, through choir, through the youth group, I must be all in for them to even consider being all in for themselves. The third F is future, and that's what all in is really all about, the future of this community of faith that we call Wilshire. I'm grateful to the Masons for Dot Laux, the Wingfields and the Jernbergs, the Brookshires, Kathy Alverson, the Woodburys, the Granberries, so many others of you that have become friends and have paved the way for Wilshire to be what it is today for my family. You've given us a wonderful place to worship and to fellowship, and most importantly, you've given us a place to call home. I'm also grateful for Joan and Julie, for Sarah and Jeff and Darren, and so many others who teach and work with our children and your children. They've worked with our kids to make this a place to shape the people of Wilshire so that Wilshire become a more dynamic, vibrant beacon of light for God's work today for decades to come. Our future at Wilshire is what is at stake today. We've been through it a lot the last couple of years. I was blessed to be a part of that. Wilshire depends on us coming through that and being all in. We're all in at work, with our family, with our exercise routines, with our sports teams, whatever it may be. It's too easy to get caught up in our busy lives and just show up at church. And sometimes we just need to do that. We need to be here, be quiet, and just listen. But if we're just here, are we improving ourselves and are we improving Wilshire? Being all in sounds like a catchy phrase, and it is. It's simple, but what does it really mean? On my computer at work, I have a verse that either came from George's sermon or George's sermon inspired me many years ago from Luke. From everyone to whom much has been given, much will be required. And from the one whom much has been entrusted, even more will be demanded. I remind myself that I have to be more in before I can be all in. There are times I just want to sit back. I tell Mark I just can't serve on one more committee. He lets that sit for a few weeks until I send the email that says, okay, I'm ready. But we have to be more in to be all in. Where can you be more in? Where can I be more in for you? Because if we're more in, we're a lot closer to all in. And I'm ready to be all in. Thank you.